In this video, I will show you guys all of the cooking recipes, hopefully, and explain along the way what all of them can be used for. At the end, I'll wrap things up with my recommendations on recipes I think are the most beneficial or the best, and which ones are complete go. To begin the long list of recipes, we'll start off with salads. The first salad is the fruit salad, possibly the easiest to make. The recipe calls for 2 fruits plus a fruit or a vegetable filler. Next up is the salad, just salad. This recipe calls for 2 cabbages plus a fruit or a vegetable filler. Continuing on, we have the mushroom salad, which calls for 2 mushrooms plus fruit or veg filler. The last on the salad list is the tofu salad, which recipe calls for 2 tofu plus fruit or veg filler. You might not know how to make tofu, so skip to this timestamp to see how. Salads are a great source of food to replenish your EP. I recommend making some salads when you're out and about farming some trees. Also, salads are pretty cheap to make. The ingredients you use to make salads are literally growing in your backyard. First soup is porridge, consisting of water and 2 fillers. The next stew is meat stew, which the recipe calls for water plus a meat or 2 small meats plus 1 filler. Moving on, we have the vegetable stew, which needs water plus 2 fruits or vegetables plus salt plus filler. Vegetable stew, but you can use fruits as the main ingredients. That is probably the biggest. Oh, by the way, when recipes require meat, usually you can also use 2 small meats to replace the 1 big meat. There are some exceptions though. Hey guys, me from the future. I didn't know this was a thing, but there's also mushroom stew. You need water plus 2 mushrooms plus salt and a filler. Fried foods, one of the harder foods to make. Why? Well, in order to make fried foods, you'll need oil, or specifically soybean oil. Getting your hands on soybean oil is difficult to get without the help of the juicer, which I think you unlock after the 4th Runes of Light. To make fried foods, you just need to combine oil plus 1 main ingredient. There are 4 total fried foods. The first is fried pumpkin, which requires soybean oil plus a pumpkin. The next fried food is fried fish, which calls for soybean oil plus a fish. Up next is the fried meat, which the recipe calls for soybean oil plus a big meat. Lastly, French fries, the coolest one in my opinion, requires soybean oil plus potatoes. I have to be honest with you guys, I don't know a use for fried foods, except just for hunger, of course. None of the fried food choices give anything special to them. I was expecting something cool to happen when you eat them because it's a little harder to get, but my disappointment is immeasurable. And my day is ruined. To start off our bread list, we're going to talk about pies. All pies require bread, which if you don't know how to make, you'll need milk plus wheat. This is where the goat farm comes in handy. The first pie is the apple pie, which requires bread plus 2 apples. The next pie is berry pie, which requires bread plus 2 berries of any kind. The next pie is pumpkin pie, which needs bread plus pumpkin. The last pie is pizza. To make pizza, you'll need bread plus cheese plus salt plus 2 fillers. Pizza is expensive to make, but the other pies are pretty simple and cost effective. All pies replenish your hunger effectively and last an okay amount of time, usually like 1.5 days before it spoils. On to our next food category, we have sandwiches and burgers. There are only 2 right now, and the first is the sandwich, which requires bread plus 2 fillers of any kind. The next is the hamburger, which needs bread plus meat or 2 small meats plus salt and a filler. For fillers, depending on what you use as fillers, the outcome of the cuisine will match what you put into it. Like if you were to put pumpkins as fillers, you would get more hunger out of the cuisine than if you use berries, for example. Now we're getting into the cooler categories of foods. The first cold food is sashimi, which the recipe calls for ice caps plus a fish. The alternative is meat sashimi, which consists of meat inside a fish. The third and really cool one in my opinion is the ice cream, which needs fruit plus milk plus ice cap. When eating cold foods, your temperature will decrease for a few steps. Also, the ice cream decays in like 2 seconds. There are a total of 5 teas that are available to make. Each 5 has specific things that it would do to your body. Like for example, Licorice Tea, which requires water plus licorice. Cures any disease you have, by only one though. The next tea is Honey Tea, which requires water plus honey. Drinking honey tea will give you some EP. Continuing on with teas, we have Lingzhi Tea, requiring water plus Lingzhi. Drinking the tea will heal your health for a bit. Next tea is the Lavender Tea, which requires water plus lavender. Drinking it will replenish your EP. The last and most powerful tea is Ginseng Tea. Why is this so powerful, you may ask? Just take a look at this. So yeah, this tea is basically a healing potion. To make ginseng tea, you'll need water plus ginseng plus Lingzhi plus lavender. The really good thing about teas is that they don't have a decay timer, unlike everything else in the game. Drinking tea will also heat up your body, so bringing in the cold areas might be a good idea. The last category on this list is some miscellaneous foods. This is where I put all the other recipes that don't fit into the previous categories, like this one. This is a caterpillar skewer, which requires 4 caterpillars and a tree sap. Eating caterpillar skewer will recover all of your EP, which is pretty good to be honest. Next food is steak, which costs a meat or 2 small meats, plus salt, plus vegetable or fruit. When eating it, it only gives hunger. The last food in this entire video is tofu. Making tofu requires water plus salt and 2 beans. My recommendations on this extremely long food list. Making this video has made me realize that there is a lack of salt in the game, so you're limited to every single recipe that requires salt, like pizza. Anything non-salt related is always a good option since you'll never run out of it. I recommend every type of salad except tofu salad because it requires 2 salt in total. Salads are a good food choice option when cutting down trees and anything that requires a lot of EP because it replenishes your EP and it lasts longer than meat. Meat stew is a good option if you're all the way down on hunger and want it right back up instantly. Avoid fried foods, it's a scam. Save your fish, meat, and especially pumpkins. Every pie is good to make because it's relatively cheap if you have a normal farm and a goat farm. Cold foods. It's pretty cheap to make cold foods, but the whole purpose of eating it is for your temperature to go down, but it only decreases it for like 5 steps. Same thing applies for teas as well. Teas also heat you up for like 5 steps, but the tea's unique attribute of not decaying makes up for that. I would say save the ingredients in the teas for making potions that are extremely powerful, but if you don't have the cauldron yet, teas are a good way to go. Also, caterpillar skewer is really good. It heals your EP fully and the only requirement is Trent sap, but I don't have a serious problem with losing Trent sap. Well, that's the end of the video. Man, I really suck at this. Yo, Discord, 300 subscribers, thank you. Alright, good night, bro. I see you tomorrow.